History does not forgive the man who chooses the wrong woman. No songs are written. No sympathy is given. Only silence and the ruins of what could have been. This is the silent law of life that every man eventually learns. But most only learn it too late, as they stand over the grave of their own potential, wondering how their kingdom collapsed. Without a single sword being drawn, no warning will come. Not from your mother, not from your friends, and certainly not from a society that profits from your blindness. But Machiavelli knew. He understood that behind every man who was broken, not by fate, not by tragedy, not by bad luck, stood the wrong woman. The one he let in without strategy. The one who smiled as she disarmed him. While the world sells you illusions of fairy tale love, of loyalty and everlasting bliss, Machiavelli whispers a truth that most fear to hear. Men, by nature, judge more by appearances than by substance. All have eyes. Few have discernment. Never. She could be the most stunning woman you've ever laid eyes on. But if her mind is hollow, her principles are rotten, and her loyalty is available to the next man with deeper pockets, you are not admiring a queen. You are embracing a polished poison. Remember his words. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Are you hearing this? Few will ever look past beauty, but the strategic man must. He examines her patterns, her decisions, her loyalty, her respect for structure. He watches how she behaves when no one is watching, how she speaks about the absent, how she treats waiters, family, and herself. Because the man who loses everything is usually the one who ignored these quiet signals. A good woman doesn't fall into your lap. You study her. You test her. You observe her. Like a general maps the battlefield before stepping into war. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does eventually." Stop being the fool who waits until he's cornered. You don't get to cry betrayal later, if you chose blindness now. So here's your second commandment. Never, under any condition, choose a woman who disrespects masculine authority. If she sees your strength as a threat, not as protection, leave. If she competes with your leadership instead of complimenting it, leave. Because the man who tries to build with the wrong woman will watch his empire turn to dust, while she smiles, holding the match. You've heard the warning, never choose a woman who disrespects your authority. Now, let's go deeper, because that mistake doesn't just cost you peace. It costs you your kingdom. If she challenges your vision but brings no wisdom to the table, leave. Because a woman who refuses to respect masculine structure will inevitably replace it with emotional chaos. And chaos has a name, downfall. This is how great men crumble. This is how bloodlines vanish. You were not born to rescue her. You were not sent to repair her. You are here to build. And building demands alignment, not friction, not sabotage dressed as love. Machiavelli gave this warning. Men who do not solidify their power will soon become slaves to the very forces they once thought they could control. You think you can manage her drama? You think you can tolerate her disrespect? You think love will tame her? No, it won't. Because here's what she knows. And you don't. You've already chosen her. You handed over your power, and she accepted it like a queen accepts a throne. One you surrendered without a fight. Understand this. Power is not something you barter in relationships. It is taken. or it is lost. There is no middle ground. Most men, blinded by their thirst to be loved, give away their strength, wrapped in noble-sounding illusions. Compromise, empathy, partnership. Beautiful words. Deadly lies. Machiavelli was merciless in exposing this delusion. He said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Why? Because love without respect is slavery with a romantic filter, and the man who lets a woman rule him for the sake of peace is no better than a puppet king, crowned in tin, while his kingdom silently collapses behind locked doors. Still wondering who she really is? Then test her. Say no. Set a boundary. Withdraw your time, your attention, your resources. And wait. Will she respect your distance? Or will she come back with guilt, tears, manipulation? Using emotions as weapons to reel you back in? Most women today have been trained by a soft, misguided culture to believe that men exist to feed their emotional appetites on demand. And most men, desperate for approval, bend their knees and serve. But not you. Not anymore. Your third commandment. Watch her when she's bored. Every woman shines when she's getting gifts, attention, entertainment. But boredom? That's where the mask falls. Can she create peace in the quiet? Or must she manufacture chaos to feel alive? Will she sit in stillness with grace? Or ignite petty conflicts just to hear her own voice? Because if she cannot control her emotions in silence, she will wreck your life the moment real problems begin. You need a woman who brings calm, not a ticking time bomb that explodes every time the world stops clapping. And now, we confront the lie you've been fed since boyhood. That her body count doesn't matter. That her past is off limits. That you're insecure if you care. Machiavelli would have laughed in your face. He wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Translation? Modern men are being conned. Told her past means nothing, while it holds everything. Because history is the only true crystal ball. A woman who's betrayed others won't start fresh with you. She'll sharpen the same knife while smiling in your direction. Her past isn't irrelevant. It's a preview. And it's screaming your future. The fourth commandment. Never invest in a woman whose values don't mirror your own. You are a man of vision. Or at least, you must become one. And a man with a vision doesn't fall in love with lust. He aligns with purpose, with mission. If she mocks your discipline, if she rolls her eyes at your drive, if she's more obsessed with likes on Instagram than the legacy you're building, walk away. I don't care how she looks in that dress. I don't care how sweet her voice sounds when she wants something. If she doesn't respect your mission, she will sabotage it. A man with vision cannot align with a woman who mocks it. And now, the harshest truth awaits. One that breaks the weak, but awakens the strong. Here it is, the truth you've been refusing to accept. The wrong woman will not just waste your time. She will steal your destiny. And no thrill, no beauty, no fleeting pleasure is worth burying your potential in the graveyard of regret. So listen carefully, because what comes next is the commandment no man wants to hear. Yet every man must obey. If she does not fear losing you, she will never truly value you. That is the coldest law of all. The woman who believes you'll stay no matter what, no matter how far she disrespects you, no matter how much she stops bringing value to your life, will slowly grow to despise you. Why? Because what costs nothing is worth nothing. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He said, men must be either caressed or crushed. And women, by nature, do the same. If she cannot lose you, she will crush you. If she fears your absence, she will rise to meet your standard. Men who are respected are not cruel. They are clear. They are powerful because their presence matters, and their absence is felt. So stop being always available. Stop feeding disrespect with more attention. Stop handing out your loyalty like candy to those who mock it behind your back. The man who holds the power is the one ready to walk away. Always has been. Always will be. These words may sound easy, but living them, that's the true battle. Because to live them, you must first kill the fool within. The romantic fool. The desperate fool. The little boy who still believes that love alone can conquer nature. You've been programmed to believe that your sincerity will save you, that your loyalty will change her, that if you just love her hard enough, she will finally see your worth. She won't. And that is why so many men are broken. Not by women, but by their illusions of women. Machiavelli was brutal in exposing men who refused to face the truth. He wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, love and fear. And never forget, fear holds more weight than love. The woman you cannot walk away from is the woman who owns you. And the moment she senses that, she will change. Her tone hardens. Her patience vanishes. Her respect dies. But the man she believes she could lose? Watch how her nature shifts. Her voice softens. Her loyalty sharpens. Her chaos disappears. Because she knows this man is not replaceable. The man who makes himself endlessly available invites only contempt. She grows colder. She grows bolder. She tests him. Not because she's wicked, but because female nature cannot trust what it does not respect. And a man who refuses to protect his own value is a man she will never follow. Let me make this as plain as possible. The most dangerous woman in a man's life is the one who sees him as her emotional support system, but not as a leader. You think she loves you because she cries to you, vents to you, shares her fears? That's not love. That's convenience. Here's the real test. Does she follow your guidance? Does she respect your leadership? Does she elevate herself when you raise the bar? If not, you are not her king. You are her emotional trash can. And she will keep using you until she finds a man she actually respects. You think that's harsh? Good. Let it sting. Let it burn. Because that pain you're feeling right now, that discomfort, that's your awakening. Most men try to negotiate respect. They try to buy it with effort, with sacrifice, with submission. They shrink themselves, begging to be loved. Fools. Machiavelli warned us. One who deceives will always find those willing to be deceived. Don't be that man. You've begged long enough. You've waited, hoped, compromised. And where did it get you? Disrespected, devalued, dismissed. Respect, True respect is never earned by begging. It is never negotiated at the altar of emotions. It is commanded. And the moment you start pleading for it, you've already surrendered it. So how do you command respect? By being the man who is always ready to walk away. By living each day as if losing her costs you nothing. Because the man who fears her absence becomes her servant. But the man who accepts her loss, he becomes her obsession. She will test you again and again. She'll push boundaries. She'll try to provoke to see if you just bark or bite. And you must bite. And if you're here to be entertained, leave. But if you're here to survive, listen carefully. Because no one else will say this out loud. There are only two kinds of women in this world. Those who build you, and those who destroy you. There is no in-between. No gray area. No maybe. When you choose her, you are either sharpening your sword, or driving it slowly into your own back. And here is the bitter truth. Modern women have perfected the art of appearing useful, while secretly draining the life from the men who trust them. Call it harsh. Call it cruel. But denial won't stop your world from collapsing when you choose wrong. This is not hate. This is not war. This is strategy. Machiavelli taught us. He who seeks to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived. And that someone is often the weak man. The man who thinks with his emotions instead of his judgment. So hear this, your first commandment. Never choose a woman based on appearance alone. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. But to remind her, you are a man who values himself more than he fears being alone. Walk away. Disappear. Not to punish her, but to protect yourself. Now here's one of the most ignored principles of all. Watch how she relates to other men. Not just her exes. Not just the male friends she keeps around, but how she speaks about men in general. Does she admire masculine strength? Or does she tear it down with sarcasm? Does she speak with gratitude about her father, her brothers, her mentors? Or does bitterness leak from every word she utters about the men who came before you? Because here's what Machiavelli understood. A woman who secretly resents men can never truly submit to one. She may play sweet in the beginning, but bitterness is a seed, and bitterness always blooms. And when it does, you'll find out too late. You didn't marry a companion. You married a competitor. Machiavelli warned us. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Translation? Her words mean nothing if her patterns don't match. So don't marry potential. Don't invest in sweet promises. Invest in patterns. If her past was chaos, your love won't turn it into peace. If her habits were lazy, your presence won't magically spark discipline. You are not the exception. You are just the next fool if you ignore the obvious. And why do so many men fall for this trap? Because deep down, you want to believe you're the one who can change her. That your love is different. That your patience will finally flip the switch. That if you stay long enough, she'll look at you and see the prize. She won't. Because you are not her father. You are not her therapist. You are not her savior. You are a man. And your time is your life. Every minute spent trying to fix a woman who doesn't want to change is a minute stolen from your future self. Machiavelli said it clearly. The wise man does it once. what the fool does eventually. And every second you delay cutting off the wrong woman, you are living as the fool. Here's something you won't hear in any feel-good video. No woman on earth is your purpose. Not one. Your purpose is your mission, your discipline, your kingdom. A woman is either an asset to that purpose or a liability. And most men, they flip the equation. They make the woman the goal, the center, the reason they breathe. And when she senses this, when she realizes she's the sun you orbit, she loses all respect for you. Why? Because women do not trust men who orbit them. They trust men who orbit their own mission. This is why the same woman will disrespect one man and worship another. The difference isn't her. It's the man's frame. So here's your next brutal truth. Never choose a woman who cannot thrive in your absence. You want to know who she really is? Step back. Watch how she lives without your attention. Does she fall apart, craving chaos and validation? Or does she rise, quietly, steadily, powerfully? The woman who needs constant reassurance, constant compliments, constant supervision. She will drain your soul. But the woman who multiplies in your absence, who stays grounded, who respects your mission, even when you're not around to enforce it, that is the woman worth keeping. You now know the measure of a woman is found in how she behaves when you're not around. But the measure of a man? That's revealed by what he tolerates. Machiavelli warned, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." And in relationships, that means only one thing. You must be willing to make her uncomfortable in the name of your standards. If she crosses a line, you call it out. Immediately. No hesitation. No softness. No delay. If she wastes your time, you take it back without apology. And if she tests your strength, you don't explain it. You demonstrate it by showing her the door. Not because you're cruel, but because you are a man who guards the empire he's building. And make no mistake, if you bend once, you will bend again. And she knows this. Here's the next commandment. Choose a woman whose presence sharpens your discipline, not one who dulls it. The woman who tempts you to skip the gym, who mocks your early mornings, who laughs when you say no to distractions. She is not helping you grow. She is sabotaging you. And she may smile while doing it. She may even call it love. But what it really is betrayal. Because a real woman, a woman of value, is your ally in discipline. She holds you to your word. She doesn't soften your edges. She polishes them. She challenges you to be sharper, faster, more focused. She's not begging you to be gentle. She dares you to be great. And now, a word to the man listening who's already trapped. The man thinking, "But I've already chosen wrong." Let me be clear. It's not too late. But it will cost you. It may cost your pride, your time, even your money. But ask yourself this. What's more expensive? Leaving now, or slowly dying for the next 20 years? Because the wrong woman will drain you until there's nothing left but regret and silence. And when you're finally empty, she will leave anyway. Because nature does not pity the man who refuses to lead himself. Machiavelli understood this principle well. People only respect what they fear losing. So if she doesn't fear losing you, it's because you've trained her to see you as spineless. But that changes now. You are not here to be a background character in her drama. You are here to be a kingdom builder. And every kingdom rises or falls based on the queen that's allowed inside. The real problem with most modern men? It's not that they're weak. It's that they've been conditioned to believe weakness is compassion. That turning a blind eye is tolerance. That enduring disrespect is love. But Machiavelli tore that illusion apart. He said, "A prince who is not himself wise cannot be wisely advised." Meaning, if you are weak, you will only ever attract voices that echo your weakness. That's why men with no standards are always surrounded by the most chaotic women. You thought you were just unlucky. You thought you had bad timing. That you kept meeting the wrong ones. No. You invited them. You allowed them. You chose them. Because your weakness called to their chaos, like a flame calls to moths. And now you're here, not because of them, but because of you. So here's a truth that may sting, but it must be said. You are exactly where you deserve to be. Whoever she is in your life right now, whether she's a blessing or a curse, you selected her. Maybe through boredom. Maybe through desperation. Maybe because you were afraid of being alone. But you chose. And until you face that truth like a man, you will stay trapped in the cycle. Blaming women. Blaming society. Blaming luck. Instead of looking in the only mirror that matters. You've faced the mirror. You've seen the truth. Now comes the part most men never reach. Ownership. Enough. Take control. Because Machiavelli's lessons mean nothing to the man who still clings to victimhood. Here's the trap most men fall into. They sit. They wait. They hope that one day the perfect woman will simply appear. Flawless, loyal, ready to love them. Meanwhile, they've done nothing to build their own value, nothing to sharpen their discernment, nothing to prepare themselves for that moment. They drift through life, trusting a feeling to tell them when it's right. But feelings are master deceivers. And women have perfected the craft of triggering every feeling you crave. Validation. Comfort. Intimacy. They know exactly how to press those emotional buttons. But here's the final law. The one law that stands above them all. If you forget everything else, remember this. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Because everyone sees, but few understand. You may have eyes, but do you have insight? Can you sit across from a beautiful woman and see through the act? Do you have the strength to walk away from beauty when every part of you screams to stay? Because real men don't choose based on hunger. They choose based on wisdom, not addiction, but alignment. Not short-term pleasure, but long-term strategy. And that brings us to your final commandment. Test her loyalty in your absence before you trust her in your presence. Any woman can act right when you're around. The question is, who does she become when you're not? Does she guard your name when you're not in the room? Does she turn down attention from other men without needing to be reminded? Does she live by the standard you set, even when there's no immediate reward? Or does she drift, The moment your back is turned, because the woman who cannot be trusted when you're gone is the same woman who will betray you when you're weak, tired, or distracted. Never apologize for setting high standards. Never apologize for walking away when she fails to meet them. You are not here to settle. You are not here to gamble with your future. You are here to build. And if she can't build with you, she will destroy you. Not because she's cruel, but because nature punishes the unprotected. Machiavelli warned rulers: fortify your cities, secure your gates, control your borders. Why? Because kingdoms fall when outsiders gain unrestricted access to what should have been protected. And you, yes, you are a kingdom. Your time, your energy, your focus, your purpose. These are your walls, your fortress. Guard them like your life depends on it, because it does. And now, brother, you must awaken to the final deception, the illusion of endless options. Modern society has sold you a lie, that women are everywhere, that there's always a better one if you just keep swiping, keep chasing, keep lowering your standards, because another one is always coming. But Machiavelli knew the truth. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. And what bankrupts a man faster than anything? Chasing women who had nothing but debt. Debt to your spirit, debt to your mission, debt to your mind. Here's the brutal truth. Most women today are not worth selecting. And deep down, you already know it. You feel it in your gut. You see it in their actions. You experience it every time. You open your phone and see women competing for likes, but never for legacy. Performing for strangers online, but refusing to perform where it counts. As a worthy partner to a man with vision. Yet you still convince yourself to settle, to compromise, to tolerate. Why? Because you're afraid. Afraid to be alone. But Machiavelli would tell you, better to stand alone in strength than to kneel beside weakness in comfort. You've seen the game for what it is. You know now, most women are not worth your kingdom. And that leads us here to the final and hardest truth to accept. It is better to walk alone than to walk beside the wrong woman. Because the wrong woman won't just waste your time. She'll do something far more dangerous. She will strip away the very essence of what makes you a man. Your edge, your clarity, your sense of purpose. Gone. Look around. Look at the men you once admired. Strong, disciplined, focused. Where are they now? Fallen. Exhausted. Numb. Somewhere along the way, they handed their power to a woman who never truly respected them. And now, their faces tell the story. Drained, tired, silent. That is your future. If you trade your principles for comfort, that is where you end up. When you choose attention over alignment, lust over legacy, a body over a bond. Because while you're entertaining the wrong woman, the right one walks past you, watching you compromise, watching you shrink, watching you sell your future for the price of fleeting affection. You must become the kind of man who is willing to suffer the solitude of waiting for the right woman, rather than bow to the convenience of the wrong one. Machiavelli taught rulers that power requires sacrifice, that the path to greatness is never the easy one. The end justifies the means, and your end is peace, purpose, legacy. The means? Ruthless, disciplined selection. Because every woman you allow into your life is either sharpening your sword or dulling your edge. There is no such thing as a neutral woman. No harmless choice. No, she's not that bad. She will either multiply your fire or suffocate it. She will either stand beside you like a fortress or tear you down like a silent traitor behind your walls. This is not paranoia. This is history. Kings have fallen, not to armies, but to the woman they trusted most. Great men have been reduced to dust, not by enemies, but by the one they allowed into their bed, their heart, their mind. And here's the most brutal irony of all. The woman you failed to choose wisely will be the one you spend your life defending to everyone else. You'll tell your friends, "I didn't see it." You'll tell your family, "It just happened." You'll tell yourself, "It wasn't that bad." But deep down, you'll know. You saw the signs. You heard this very warning, and you chose to ignore it. And when your empire burns, no one will come to save you, because no one rescues a man from his own cowardice. Machiavelli didn't write for men who wanted to be liked. He wrote for men who wanted to win. And if you want to win, truly win, then you must choose like a ruler, not like a fool. You must test like a king, not plead like a beggar. You must be willing to walk away, not out of bitterness, but because your mission is too great. Your purpose is too precious. Your time is too limited to waste on anyone who does not multiply what you're building. And now you stand at a crossroad, not just as a man, but as a builder of legacy, or as the next forgotten casualty of weakness. You've heard the truth. It's burned in your chest. And you know, without a doubt, your future depends on who you select to stand beside you. Not someday, not when it's convenient, but right now. Because the very moment you lower your standard, the moment you ignore what you've learned here tonight, the moment you choose entertainment over alignment, you set the timer on your own destruction.
Thanks for spending time here. If this resonated with you, give it a like, send it to a friend, and make sure you're subscribed. Your support means everything.